Hello. Happy Tuesday morning. I'm so sorry. This is coming a little late. We'll talk about it in person. We'll go over it. I don't know if you can hear the wind in the background. I hate it. Okay, so get your head in the game. Let's interpret this insane diagram I've written. So a few things to note, and I will write these out in an email for you. All of the people in this scene kind of have like a code name in this to make the diagram more simple, so I'll write all that out. But the really important ones to know here are CB is Coach Bolton, OW is Owen, as Jack Scott, because he'll be in all three cliques, and I think he'll be very funny in this scene. And then everybody whose name is in purple is like the first string basketball players. So those are the people who are in the ensemble who don't have any lines or anything, but like their ensemble assignment is jocks. So that means any time where they're running in cliques or there are like multiple cliques going on, basically they're just always jocks, and so they're kind of like the featured jocks. And then C1 and C2, C1 in pink, C2 in blue, those are Chad 1 and Chad 2. Chad 1 denotes whoever is playing Chad on that night, so that's going to change, right? And then Chad 2 is like the off Chad, and they're also going to be like a jock as their ensemble assignment. And then Zeke is in dark blue, that's Z. Troy's in black, that's T. And all the red people are people who I've added to this number to get them on stage more, who are in the ensemble but are in different cliques, and or people who are playing other roles. So like I have Maylee in here, I have Grace and Brooke who play Taylor. They're playing roles. Hallie is Kratnoff, but I've hidden them kind of towards the back in like the second string. They're kind of like the B team, and they're not really on the inner circle. So I've hidden them a little bit. In some places I've like purposefully hidden them, but yeah, they're kind of just, they're basketball players, and in this scene, they're not their characters, they're playing basketball players. So they come on from stage left as a clump. And places where it's a clump, the blocking's not as set, like it's kind of loose. So as long as they're in like a tight clump, all good, with the right people sort of towards the front and the right people sort of towards the back. Whereas, like, I'll get into it more, but where they're kind of in lines or triangles or formations, that's a little more set. So we'll talk about that. So, clump. They enter, and Coach Bolton's first line is, "And remember, the chain is only as strong as its weakest link. When the going gets tough, the tough get going." So, for context, there's going to be a whistle blow from off stage. Everybody's going to book it in. Like, they're going to have to run pretty fast because the music starts and the dialogue starts at the same time. So this is like hard to time. It actually might be worthwhile practicing the timing of the dialogue in rehearsal, but I'll go over that. Hi, baby. Oh, look, my sister's dog came to say hi. Okay, so then they all come in on this clump for this motivational speech from the coach. Hi, Waffle, go away. They all come in for into this clump, right? The coach says, "And remember, the chain is only as strong as its weakest link. When the going gets tough," and then all of them repeat, "the tough get going." When Coach Bolton says, when the going gets tough, that's when Owen's actually going to enter. Pretty much at the top of that line. So he's not that much not that much further behind everybody else. But he's going to also run in late, and be like so out of breath and so apologetic. And the coach, one of the jokes throughout the show is that everybody seems to like Jack Scott. Like, he's never ostracized or bullied. He really is in with everybody. And so when he's late, the coach just like waves and nods and shows him to his spot, which don't worry too much about, because our coach is Dacia in St. Albert, so she won't be there tonight. But I guess it's your star turn. And then, so Owen comes in. He gets a bit of an acknowledgement. He's going to go back to his spot. And then, so Coach Bolton says, "Okay, team, let me see some hustle." He blows his whistle. So that's when the jocks are going to run out to their second formation, which I'll talk about in just a moment. But Troy is going to enter. Troy's going to run in on "Let me see some hustle" so that he has a little bit of time to get there. And goes right up to the coach. "Sorry I'm late. Coach." And then Coach Bolton says, "You're the team captain, Bolton. Get your head in the game." This exchange, by the time Troy gets there, so when Coach Bolton says, "Okay, team, let me see some hustle," Coach is already going to start to cross sort of downstage right when he says that. And that's kind of in this bottom corner. So then when Troy runs in, he's actually going to run down to downstage right first. So he has a little bit more distance to run. Sorry, I'm late, Coach. And then Coach says, you're the team captain, Bolton, get your head in the game. And this is very rough. And so Troy, with that, he takes it in stride. He's like, oh my gosh, you're right. Like, I'm so distracted. He runs back. And then Chad says, man, your dad's tough, which actually is kind of a compassionate thing for him to say, because Chad's been very, like, aggressive in this whole musical. Like, he's very hyper masculine. He's all about, that status quo, right? So him saying, like, man, your dad's tough, you could even indicate to Talia, who will be playing this tonight, like, this is like a rare moment of softness, a rare moment of vulnerability for Chad to be like, wow, like, your dad calls you by your last name, like, that's crazy. And Troy completely ignores it. Well, kind of like maybe acknowledges it a little bit with like a head nod, but doesn't say anything because he says, all right, let's kick it in, run the shuffle drill. And that's kind of where the singing is going to start. So after Troy has this interaction in downstage right with Coach Bolton, and I'll walk through all of this with you in person, just so you can see it. Troy goes right back to his rightful position, sort of center stage, maybe a little bit down. This is not a great drawing. It's a little bit squished, but the idea is Troy's in the middle and sort of downstage. Coach Bolton is still downstage right, right. And he's kind of watching this thing transpire. And that's when Troy starts to lead what's going to begin as actually like a little dance. So I should play the timing of this. So I'm just going to start the music. And I'll explain what's going on as it goes. So, get your head in the game.
And remember, the chain is only as strong as its weakest link. When the going gets tough...
Owen enters. Owen goes back to formation with them. The team goes to... let me see some hustle. The team goes back to their formation. Coach Bolton has already started to cross downstage right. And when Troy runs in, I think he'll actually call as he's running in, sorry, I'm late, Coach, and goes right up to his dad. That's when his dad gives him some tough love, which sounds like this.
Sorry, I'm late, Coach. You're the team captain, Bolton. Get your head in the game.
Yeah, so get your head in the game. Troy takes this very seriously. He runs back to his position, sort of center. That's when Chad says... Troy kind of ignores it, brushes it off, and then directs the team to begin.
Right, let's kick it in. Run the shuffle drill.
So then you get that. That's like the indication to start. And so when you practice the dialogue with the music underneath it, you can read Coach Bolton, or you could actually, if you wanted to, you could have someone in the ensemble read Coach Bolton. Now that it's cast, honestly, I don't mind students stepping in every now and then. Although when it comes to formations, nobody's going to be able to step in because they're all going to have their own spot. Yeah, so you'll read this through, and then that's kind of indication that the song is about to start. So by the time that happens, they've found themselves in this formation. And it's kind of staggered. So it's kind of like 4 lines, but really it's kind of like 2 lines staggered. And you'll see in my diagram what this all is. But basically the front string is in the front. Both Chads are flanking Troy on either side, with Chad number 1 being on stage left and Chad number 2 being on stage right. This is significant for when they eventually break off into the next part. And then Zeke, stage right. The players fill in on either side. You can see that in the diagram I sent, the picture. And then the folks in the back. And Owen is in this back corner. I think I'm going to talk to Owen about this, but I think the whole time he's just desperately trying to follow along because he's not a very good basketball player. Which is kind of funny because I think he's the only boy in this scene. I think everybody else on stage is a girl at this point, or at least female. But yeah, so that's what happened. So during this formation, this is going to go for the first verse. And during this time, Coach Bolton is going to slowly cross from stage right to stage left. And don't worry too much about this because Daisy is not here, so don't worry about it. But just so you know, Coach Bolton is going to be carefully eyeing these players and carefully scrutinizing Troy during this part. So, I'll play the part of the music where they're in this formation.
Coach said to fig right and break left. Watch it for the pick and keep an eye on the fence. Gotta run the give and go, take the ball to the hole. And don't be afraid to shoot the outside J. Just keep your head in the game. Just keep your head in the game. And don't be afraid to shoot the outside, Jay. Just keep your head in the game.
You gotta get your head in the game. You gotta get your head in the game. Just a moment. Yes. So it's don't be afraid to shoot the outside, Jay. It's the first time he's let me hear that one more time.
Let's kick it in. Run the shuffle drill. Coach said to fake right.
This is all in this formation. They're doing a little dance here. It's super simple, I promise. I've kind of put it together already. So they go shoot it. So keep your head in the game. It's like Troy missed the shot. And they're all like, all the players, when they echo that, just keep your head in the game, they're specifically saying that to Troy. Like, you just missed that shot. You never missed that shot. That was a simple shot. And then on don't be afraid to shoot the outside J, which is this next line.
Just keep your head in the game. Just keep your head in the game. And don't be afraid to shoot the outside J.
When Troy starts to say that, don't be afraid to shoot the outside J, this is a really fast change, actually. They're not in this formation for long, because then they switch over to these two triangle-y clumps. And I gotta say, for reference, if you're okay, my camera just turned off, which is gonna mean unnecessary editing, because I am not redoing that. So, for reference, in case you're interested, this next part is absolutely, on the recommendation of my friend, who was very brilliant, a play on Dance at the Gym from West Side Story, which is almost like a dance battle, only here it's a basketball battle. So, on, just keep your head in the game, just keep your head in the game with the repeat, that's still in the formation, the previous formation, and Troy is like repeating after, or the team is repeating after Troy on, just get your head in the game, and then Troy sings, don't be afraid to shoot the outside J. When he starts to sing that, that they have 8 counts to get from this sort of staggered formation to these opposing triangles. I actually think this transition won't be too bad. But basically, they have from don't be afraid to shoot the outside J, just get your head in the game. That's how much they have, 8 counts, which I think sounds like this.
And don't be afraid to shoot the outside J. Just keep your head in the game.
You gotta. So by the time you get to that chorus, the get your head in the game, that's where they're in these formations, because that's when they're going to echo off of each other, which I won't get too much into because today, just about formations. So for the whole chorus, they're in this formation. And Coach Bolton has, like I said in the previous formation, has crossed over to stage left, right? Stage left? Yeah, stage left. During this next chorus, Coach is going to cross over to stage right. And Troy, you can tell Sophie this as you're going through these formations. Troy is like very aware of this. Yeah, Troy can see Coach Bolton in all of this. This whole song actually is motivated a little bit by Coach Bolton and by the team. Yes, Troy is very team-oriented, and he wants to play basketball. That is so true. Like, that's all true. But Coach Bolton is like the obstacle. We'll talk about it more. But so we're in these formations. We have Zeke and Chad are at the front, and this is Chad 1, the Chad who's on. On Zeke's side, which is stage right, he's gonna have this is Maria MR and Chad 2 slightly behind. They're kind of on either side, and then you have Jasmine, who's from St. Albert. So Maria and Jasmine are from St. Albert, by the way. And then these are all some of the red people I talked about. Again, this is in the diagram, and I'll put what it denotes. And then on this side of the stage, stage left, Chad 1, the Chad who's on, is leading this triangle. And this is, I can't even see. Oh, this is Abigail, and this is, Madison. So it's Abigail and Madison, Avery and Umu, Brooke back here. And then I put Grace on this side, didn't I? Yeah, I did. And then Owen down here in the front, and then these 3 fill out the back, Hallie, Isabel, and Angela. Actually, it might be easier to have Isabel be sort of front, and then Angela and Hallie be back, because that's St. Albert. Whole other issue. Don't worry about it. You don't even have them today, so you'll just put Isabel there. And then we'll figure it out when we have both groups. So that's for the chorus where they're doing sort of some repeating. So that sounds like this. They go to formation. And repeat.
Let's make sure that we get the
Wow, this is faster than I thought it was. So they're there in those formations for 2 counts of 8. And then on the woo, Troy shoots, and I think misses again, honestly. I think he should just miss. Accidentally stop the video again. So I think Troy misses like every shot in this practice. He's like really distracted. Troy, they're all on that. So that ooh is like, ooh, Troy, what's up? So then Troy, by the way, Troy has crossed upstage in this. So he's carefully watching his team. And then on the woo, he's going to make that shot. He misses. But then he kind of shakes it off. He gets back into team captain mode. He's going to cross downstage center. And they are going to clump around him. Again, very loose. So long as the folks who I mentioned who are featured are towards the front. So that's the on Chad, Owen, Zeke, and the first string players. Everybody else is kind of behind, but they're in sort of this clump. And when he says, let's make sure that we get the rebound, this is like he's giving them advice. So he says,
rebound, 'cause when we get it, then the crowd will go wild.
And it's let's make sure that we get the rebound is like they come together on that. So that's when he starts to come forward and they come into this clump.
A second chance, gotta grab it and go. Maybe this time we'll hit the right notes.
So Troy sings, maybe this time we'll hit the right note, whatever that is. He actually does do that. That's diegetic, as we would say in musical theater, meaning when he sings here, it's real. Like he's doing it in real life. Whereas a lot of this is interpretive, right? Like he's not actually singing. They're playing basketball. But here, it's like he actually sang. And so Chad is next to him. He goes, maybe this time we'll hit right now. And he gets really into it. He's like, ooh, yeah, feels good. And Chad gives him a bit of like, I want to have Chad give him a bit of like an elbow on the side. Like, what the hell are you doing, man? Like, being a freaking girl in basketball practice? And that's on that beat after. No, there's that beat. Boom, boom. That's where Chad elbows him. And it snaps Troy back into reality. Wait a minute, not the time and place. Wait a minute, get my head in the game. And that's very introspective. But the whole team noticed that he's like singing. And they're like, what's going on, Troy? What are you doing? So that's this, wait a minute, not the time and place. Wait a minute, get my head in the game. On the second, wait a minute, get my head in the game, he could do like a bit of a clap or like a hands up. Like he's indicating to the team to go to their next spot. Wait a minute, get my head in the game. Wait a minute, wait a minute. So they should have about 8 counts there. So actually it should probably be a bit earlier. So he goes, oh, wait a minute, not the time and place. Wait a minute, get my head in the game. That's when he starts to indicate to the team, okay, let's keep going. Let's get on with it. Wait a minute, get my head in the game. Wait a minute, wait a minute. That's them getting into their formation. And I'll play that in just a second. But that's, spoiler alert, that's these lines. And I'll explain these in a moment because this is it's not as complicated as it looks on paper, I promise you. So, here we go. So this is, he indicates them to move, they go to formations, they make it to their formations. So, also important to note here, there will be 2 basketballs on stage. For most of the number, the basketballs will be had by Chad and Troy, Coach Bolton, Zeke. We'll go over the basketball handoff. We'll go over the basketball handoff when we have basketballs. I don't even want to deal with basketballs until we have basketballs. But basically, Coach Bolton has a basketball. Chad has a basketball to start. Coach gives his basketball to Troy in the first part. Then Troy has the basketball, which he hands off to Zeke when they split into the 2 triangles. And then when Troy comes forward into the clump, the basketballs are going to be handed off to, and this is very important for this next part actually, They will be handed off to Hallie, which is going to be complicated in rehearsal. You're going to have to give it to Isabel whenever we're in Edmonton without Hallie, but she'll have to wait one count. I'll get into that. And then, or it's not Isabel, Isabella, tall blonde Isabella. And then the other basketball is going to go to Jasmine. Damn it. I gave it to two St. Albert kids. Okay, so we'll discuss this later, but basically they're going to be in two lineups. And once we get into that next, get your head in the game. We got to get your head in the game. They're passing the basketball down the lineup. So the J on stage right, that's Jasmine. The H on stage left, that's Hallie. They're going to start with the basketballs on either side, and they're going to pass on the beat. So it'll go, I gotta get you, or it's going to be, I gotta boom, get your head in the game. We gotta get your head in the game. We gotta. So they pass it across the lineup. It's going to get there about a beat or two after the first get your head in the game. So it's going to be, we got to pass, get your head in the game. We got to get your head in the game. We got to get you. Owen's going to have it there in the front lineup. In the back lineup, it's going to be Amy who has it. Once they get the ball, they're going to dribble it a couple times. Amy is going to, because she's like a good player. She's going to take that ball from her side of the stage where she's received it at the end of the line on the right. She's going to run it to the other side of the lineup and join Hallie on that side. The whole line's going to shift over a bit. And then she's going to start passing it the other way. Owen, on the other hand, he gets the ball. He doesn't know what to do with it. Coach Bolton, while this has been happening, Coach Bolton was previously in the clump on the, wait a minute, get your head in the game. He was downstage right. He is going to, downstage right. Yes. He's he starts to follow, he's here, right? The ball is going. So he's going to follow the ball and kind of pump them up. Like he's like drill sergeanting them. When it gets to Owen, he's going to go to kind of to the side of Owen, to the stage left side of Owen, and Owen's standing there with the ball, doesn't know what to do. He's going to kind of like, Coach Bolton's going to be like, dude, what are you doing? Like, and that's when Owen knows, oh, I'm supposed to run it. Right, I forgot. And then Coach Bolton is going to chase Owen to the other side of the lineup. The same way Amy ran to this side of the lineup, Owen's going to run to this side of the lineup, and Coach is going to chase him, and he's going to like look over his shoulder terrified. So that takes, let me play the music that this takes. Hang on.
Wait a minute.
They're in formation. 5, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They run to the other side. And then they keep, and that works perfectly because by the time Owen gets to that side and Amy gets to that side, that's when it's a, woo, why am I feeling so wrong? So, Troy, while all of this has been happening, he was previously in this clump, downstage center, right? He is going to move. When they're doing their lineup drill, he's going to slowly make his way downstage left. Downstage left is a very vulnerable position for an actor, in my opinion. He's off center, which shows that something's wrong in his life. Typically, stage right indicates like home, familial warmth, things that people are cool with. It's like that's comfort. Stage left, moving towards stage left in the direction where you would read a book, it's like you're going on to a new adventure. It's a new journey. It's the unknown. It's scary. It's anxious. And don't worry too much about this. I'm just giving you some context. I'll explain this all to Sophie and we'll talk about it. But stage left is vulnerable because it's the place where you don't know. And downstage is vulnerable because it's close to the audience. They can see your face. You're vulnerable. It's intimate. Whereas upstage, which is where Troy was before in this triangle thing, he's playing God a bit. He's the team captain, and that's where he's showing his power. When you're further back, you have a bit more power. But here, he's deeply vulnerable downstage left because he's in the unknown and he's close to the audience. So he's like, what the hell is happening to me? He's undergoing a full transformation in his life. So they're doing this drill on the woo! It's like they're cheering because they did the drill really well, but then they freeze. So they're going to freeze into tableau. That's when Troy, downstage left now, sings, Why am I feeling so wrong? My head's in the game, but my heart's in the song. She makes it feel so right. Can I shake this? What does he say? So this is the part where they're all frozen and Troy's singing downstage left. And I really want to put him in the spotlight, so we'll see what happens.
I'm feeling so wrong. My head's in the game, but my heart's in the song. She makes us feel so right. Should I go for it? Better shake this. Yikes.
So, better shake this. Yikes. On the that's where everybody unfreezes. And this transition, it doesn't have to be perfect. It can take a little bit of time. But what they're going to do is they're going to transition into a basketball game. And wouldn't you know it, I Googled the rules of the game and the positions of the players just for this part, right? So they're going to play a basketball game, and we'll go over this separately, but on the or it's ball up, booyah, booyah. They're going to start playing a basketball game. Now, very important who's in this, in each position. The front position, I believe, is called the point guard, and that is Chad and Troy. They are playing the point guards here. And Troy does run back and join into this game. So he's going to join back in. They are the point guards. Hang on, let me pull up the positions that I had here because this is important to me, who plays what position. Waffle, girl, calm down. Here we go. So we have Troy and Chad in the point guard positions. Down in the center position, that's Zeke on Chad's team, and that's Madison on Troy's team. So they're kind of downstage of Troy and a bit behind, or of the point guard and a bit behind them. Then far downstage, kind of in that downstage right and downstage left corner, that's going to be the small forward. And on Chad's team, that is Maria from St. Albert. On Troy's team, that is Avery. Upstage, kind of in the middle between Zeke and Maria and between Madison and Avery, but upstage, that's on Troy's team, Abigail. On Chad's team, Jasmine. And that position is called the shooting guard. And then the furthest position back, sort of upstage, further on the outside of the small, or technically on the inside of the small forward. I just drew it wrong. Good job, Liberty. That position is called the power forward. And the power forward on Troy's team is going to be played by Umu. And the power forward on Chad's team is going to be played actually by Maya Jackson. Maya is normally a brainiac, but the reason why I put some substitutions in here was because I don't want Owen in this part, because this is kind of like the first string. This is where they're putting their star players up. And that's why I have like all the jocks specifically. They play this basketball game. Chad 2, also not in this. The reason why I'm not putting Chad 2 in this is because on their off night, I don't want them to have to deal with a ton of extra blocking. So they're just going to sit this game out, which I think is fine. And then everybody else who's a red person, that's Amy and Maylee and Grace and Brooke and Angela, Isabella, Hallie, and then, my God, who was Kay? I literally can't even remember. I'll remember at some point. They're going to actually, it's not, I put them in a line here. They don't have to be in a line, but they're going to kind of clump up at the back and they're cheering on the team. So the way that they sing this last part is as though the ball up, booyah, booyah. That's like they're cheering on their team. They're pushing their team. This can be very aggressive and very intense. They are really invested in this practice. So they play a game of basketball. Brilliant, right? So this is how long this goes. This is pretty much almost the entire rest of the song. They play basketball here.
Now we got the swerve on. Now break. Make the pass. Clean the glass. Take another strike from the charity stripe. Make the slam dunk at the inside, outside. Dunk, 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 dunk. Keep your head, don't forget. And Troy be cutting the net. You gotta put your head in the game. You gotta get your head in the game. You gotta get your
So, Troy boy, Troy B, cut in the net. We gotta get your head in the game. So on Troy boy, Troy B, cut in the net. That's kind of the end of that basketball game. So it's only about, I guess that was about 30 seconds. Yeah. So they play basketball. Troy boy, Troy B, cut in the net. Troy. Also, something I didn't mention here. Again, you don't have to worry too much about this because Coach Bolton's in St. Albert. She's gonna cut behind the game and around, and she is going to be Troy's shadow for this entire thing. Oh, my dog wants to be let out. I need to wrap this up. Coach Bolton comes around the back to Troy and watches Troy's every move in this game. Troy boy, Troy B, cut in the net. You gotta get your head in the game. Troy crosses down center, like right down center, and so does Coach Bolton. And everybody else clumps in. Again, does not matter as long as these people are in the front. And they split center for this last part. Everybody's just pumping Troy up to make a shot. This is what it sounds like at the end. There you go. So there's like a little, the basketball goes in. Maybe it doesn't. I kind of don't want him to make a single shot. So Coach Bolton is watching him intently. He's freaking out. He's like, oh my God, like my whole team is counting on me. I haven't made a single shot. I'm doing terribly today. There's my dad. And so Troy goes for the shot at the very end and misses. And that's the end of the number. We'll talk about this in person. I just threw so much information at you. I'm so sorry. You can kind of skip through this, but yeah.